Chapter 1. The Third Wheel. I always told myself that love meant patience, that if I just waited long enough, Emily would see me, really see me, instead of looking past me toward Claire. But patience doesn't stop the ache. Patience doesn't make laughter shared across the table feel any less like a knife twisting in my chest. "Pass the salt, babe," Emily said one night at dinner. I reached for it, but Claire snatched it up first, sliding it across the table with a grin. "Already got you, Em." Emily laughed, that soft, sweet laugh that used to be mine alone. "See? She knows me better than you do." The words stung sharper than she meant them to. I forced a smile, pretending it didn't matter, pretending I wasn't always the outsider in my own relationship. Claire leaned back in her chair, eyes locked on me. "Don't pout. You'll ruin the mood." "I'm not pouting," I muttered, stabbing at my food. "Yes, you are," she said, smirking. "God, you're so sensitive." Emily nudged me with her foot under the table, playful. "Don't take it seriously. Claire's just teasing." But it never felt like teasing. It felt like a warning, like she was testing the edges of what she could get away with. And Emily always let her. After dinner, I offered to walk Emily home, but Claire looped her arm through Emily's before I could even move. "We're going the same way," she said, dragging her off like she owned her. I followed behind, invisible, listening to them laugh about old memories I wasn't a part of. When we reached Emily's door, I tried to kiss her goodnight, but Claire was still there, leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, watching us like a guard dog. Emily hesitated, then gave me a quick peck on the cheek instead of the kiss I wanted. "I'll text you," she whispered before rushing inside. Claire smirked at me, her voice low and sharp. "You'll never be first." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "What did you just say?" She tilted her head, pretending innocence. "Nothing. Don't look so shocked. You're lucky she even keeps you around." I clenched my fists, but said nothing. If I fought, Emily would take her side. She always did. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling and asked myself a question I didn't want to answer. Was I already losing her? A week later, it happened again. We were at a cafe, the three of us crammed into a booth that should have been for two. I tried to hold Emily's hand under the table, but Claire noticed and slid in closer, cutting me off. "So, Em," Claire said, ignoring me completely. "Remember senior year? That night at the lake?" Emily laughed, cheeks pink. God, how could I forget? I forced a laugh I didn't feel. "What happened at the lake?" They looked at each other, then at me. Claire smirked. "Wouldn't you like to know?" Emily's smile faltered, guilt flickering in her eyes. She opened her mouth, but Claire cut her off. "It's our secret." "Right, Em." I dropped my gaze to the table, heat rising in my chest. I wasn't part of their world. I never was. On the walk home, I finally asked, "Why do you let her treat me like this?" Emily sighed, slipping her hand into mine. "She doesn't mean it. She's just protective." "Protective? She hates me." "No, she doesn't. You're imagining it." I stopped walking, pulling my hand back. "Then answer me this. When it's me versus her, who do you pick?" Her eyes darted away, silent, and in that silence, I already knew. The night ended with me sitting alone in my apartment, replaying Claire's words over and over in my head. "You'll never be first." Maybe she was right. Maybe I was the fool, waiting, hoping, pretending patience could win me love. But something deep inside me whispered that patience wasn't enough anymore. Something was going to break. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same. Chapter 2. The betrayal I saw coming. It was a Thursday evening, one of those nights when the city felt too heavy, and I just wanted to see her. Emily hadn't replied to my texts all day, but I convinced myself she was busy. Work, errands, something harmless, anything but the gnawing suspicion eating at me. I told myself I was being paranoid as I climbed her apartment stairs. I told myself Claire wouldn't be there. Not again. My heart hammered louder with every step. When I reached her door, it wasn't locked. That alone stopped me cold. Emily always locked her door. Always. I pushed it open, and there it was. Her hands tangled in Claire's hair. Claire's lips pressed against hers. Their bodies close, too close. The sound of them breathing hard, too wrapped up in each other to notice me at first. I froze in the doorway. My throat went dry. My stomach dropped. "Emily," I whispered. They broke apart instantly. Emily's eyes widened in shock. Horror painted across her face. Claire, on the other hand, smirked like the devil herself. This isn't, Emily stammered, scrambling to her feet. I stepped inside, shutting the door behind me with a click that made her flinch. My voice cracked. Was I ever enough for you? Emily shook her head violently. No, it's not what it looks like. Claire laughed softly, tilting her head. It's exactly what it looks like. I glared at her. Shut up. She leaned back on the couch, unbothered, her eyes shining with victory. You think you could ever compete with me? She never belonged to you. Emily grabbed my arm, her voice trembling. Please, just listen. I pulled away, the touch burning. How long, Emily? How long have you been lying to me? Her lips parted, but no words came out. That silence cut deeper than any answer could. Claire chuckled, crossing her legs. You were just the filler, you know, the safe option, the guy she could show off to her parents, but not the one she wanted when the lights went out. Stop it, Emily snapped, turning on her. For once, her anger wasn't aimed at me, but it was too late. I swallowed hard, my chest tight. So this is it. This is the truth. Tears filled Emily's eyes. No, it was a mistake, I swear. I was confused. I didn't mean confused. I laughed bitterly. You don't accidentally kiss your best friend, Emily. Her voice broke. Please don't walk away. I stared at her, at the girl I thought I loved, at the betrayal burning between us like fire, and then I turned to Claire, who was still smirking. Congratulations. You won. Her smirk widened. I always do. I walked out before my legs could give out beneath me. The cold air hit me like a slap. I didn't even know where I was going. My phone buzzed in my pocket over and over, Emily's name flashing across the screen. I couldn't bear to look. I ended up at Daniel's apartment. He opened the door in sweatpants, holding a half-empty soda. What the hell happened to you? I didn't even answer. I just sank onto his couch, my head in my hands. Bro, he said softly, sitting beside me. Talk to me. I forced the words out, my throat raw. I saw them, Emily and Claire, together. His jaw tightened, his hand curling into a fist. Those two. God, I knew something was off. I told you Claire hated you. I laughed without humor. She didn't just hate me, she wanted to destroy me. And Emily let her. Daniel shook his head. So what now? You gonna fight for her? I stared at the floor, my chest aching. Fight for what? She already chose. He was silent for a long moment, then he clapped my shoulder. Then you choose you. Don't let them break you. I wanted to believe him, but all I could feel was the echo of Emily's tears, Claire's smirk, and the emptiness gnawing at me. That night, lying on Daniel's couch, I replayed it all. Emily begging, Claire mocking, my own voice shaking. I thought love meant patience. I thought love meant waiting through the pain until she saw me. But standing in that doorway, watching her with Claire, I realized something. Patience had only made me blind. And now, I was done waiting. Chapter 3. Silence hurts louder. I didn't go home that night, or the night after. Daniel insisted I crash at his place until I got my head straight. He even tossed me his spare key. Stay as long as you need, he said. But silence followed me everywhere. My phone buzzed constantly. Emily, calls, messages, voicemails. I deleted them without listening. I told myself I didn't care, but every vibration still made my chest tighten. By the third day, Daniel noticed. You gonna keep ignoring her forever? I shrugged, staring at the TV without seeing it. What's the point of listening? She made her choice. Maybe she wants to explain. Explain what? How Claire's lips just happened to fall onto hers? How she just forgot I existed. Daniel sighed, running a hand through his hair. I get it. She screwed up, but you sitting here in silence, this isn't you. Maybe this is me now, I muttered. When I finally went back to my own apartment, the emptiness felt heavier than before. The bed looked too big, the walls too quiet. I sat there in the dark, scrolling through unread messages. Please answer me. It was a mistake. I need to see you. I'm sorry. And the one that hurt most. I love you. Please don't leave me like this. I threw the phone onto the couch. My chest ached, but I refused to cave. If I answered, I'd be pulled right back into her storm. Instead, I drowned myself in work. Double shifts at the store, extra projects, anything to keep my mind busy. When co-workers asked why I looked like hell, I just laughed it off. But every night, when the world went quiet, her voice slipped back into my head. Please, don't walk away. One evening, After a 12-hour shift, I opened my door to find a figure sitting on the steps. Emily. Her hair was messy, her eyes red. She stood up as soon as she saw me. "You're finally home." My stomach twisted. "What are you doing here?" "I had to see you. You won't answer my calls." "Take the hint," I muttered, trying to push past her. She grabbed my arm. "Please, just listen." I yanked free, anger boiling. "Listen to what, Emily? More excuses?" Tears welled in her eyes. "It wasn't what you think." "Don't." My voice cracked. "Don't you dare stand here and lie to me again." She covered her mouth, shaking. "I never wanted to hurt you." "Then why did you?" Her silence was the only answer I needed. Back inside, I locked the door and slid down against it, my head in my hands. Her muffled sobs seeped through the wood, each one stabbing into me. Part of me wanted to open the door, to hold her, to believe her, but the louder part whispered, "She always chose Claire over you. Always." I stayed there until her footsteps finally faded away. Days bled together. The calls slowed, but the silence didn't heal me. It just made the pain louder. Daniel checked in whenever he could. "You need to move on, man. Go out, meet someone, anything." I shook my head. "I'm not ready." "You can't let her chain you like this." "I already broke the chain," I whispered. "That's why it hurts." He didn't argue after that. One night, I caught myself staring at the phone again. My thumb hovered over Emily's name. One call. That's all it would take. But then Claire's voice echoed in my head. "You'll never be first." I dropped the phone like it burned me. "No," I whispered into the dark. "Not anymore." And for the first time, I started to believe it. Chapter 4. When regret knocks. It was late on a rainy night when the knock came. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Nobody came to see me anymore. Daniel texted sometimes, but he knew better than to just show up. The knock came again, louder. I dragged myself to the door and pulled it open. Emily. Her hair was soaked, strands sticking to her face. Her eyes were swollen, her lips trembling. She looked nothing like the girl who once laughed over coffee with Claire at her side. "I need to talk," she whispered. I almost shut the door right then. "There's nothing left to say." "Please," she begged, clutching the frame. "Just 5 minutes." Against every bone in my body screaming no, I stepped aside. She slipped inside, dripping water onto the floor. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. She stood there hugging herself, like the silence was crushing her. Finally, I broke it. "Why are you here, Emily?" She lifted her eyes to mine, and the pain there almost undid me. "Because I made the worst mistake of my life." I laughed bitterly. "Took you long enough to figure that out?" Her chin quivered. "Claire isn't who I thought she was." I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "No kidding." Emily's voice cracked. "She betrayed me too." That made me pause. "What?" "She used me. She told me she cared, but she was just playing games. The same night you walked out, she left. 2 days later, I found out she was with someone else, someone I thought was my friend." I stared at her, trying to read her face. "So now that she threw you away, you come crawling back to me?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "No. I came because I realized what I lost. You. I should have chosen you every time. I was blind." Her words sliced through me, sharp and soft, all at once. I wanted to believe them. I wanted to grab her and never let go. But I remembered the doorway, the kiss, the smirk on Claire's lips. "You broke me," I whispered. She stepped closer, her hands shaking. "Then let me fix you." I shook my head. "You can't." "Don't say that," she begged. "I know I hurt you, but I swear it meant nothing. Claire meant nothing. I was weak." My anger flared. "Weak? That's your excuse? You looked me in the eye every day while you gave her pieces of you that should have been mine. Do you know what that does to someone?" Her tears fell harder. I know, and I hate myself for it." I turned away, running a hand through my hair. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again." Silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. Then she whispered, "I love you." The words hit me like a punch. I froze, my heart aching. For months, I would have given anything to hear them again. Now, they sounded empty. "You don't love me," I said quietly. "You love the idea of me forgiving you." Her face crumpled, and she fell to her knees right there in my living room. "Please don't say that. Don't shut me out." I closed my eyes. Images flashed. Her laughter, her smile, her hand in mine. And then, the image that burned it all to ashes, Claire's lips pressed against hers. I can't, I whispered. Her sobs filled the room, raw and broken. For the first time, I saw Emily powerless. No Claire to hide behind, no laughter to cover the cracks, just regret. When she finally left, the rain had stopped. She stood at my door, wiping her face with trembling hands. If you ever find it in your heart to forgive me, I'll be waiting. I didn't answer. I just closed the door. I thought that would be the end of it, but life doesn't work that cleanly. A week later, I ran into someone who shifted everything. Mark. I knew his face from the whispers around Emily's circle. He was Claire's ex-boyfriend, tall, broad-shouldered, eyes burning with the same anger I felt. He spotted me outside the grocery store. You're Emily's guy, right? I hesitated. Was. He smirked bitterly. Yeah, same story for me. Claire chewed me up and spat me out. We ended up sitting on a bench, swapping scars like soldiers after a war. She destroys everything she touches, Mark said, his voice low. Not just relationships, friendships, reputations. She doesn't care. I clenched my jaw. Yeah, I know. His eyes narrowed. Then maybe it's time someone made her pay. The words hung between us, heavy and dangerous. And, for the first time, revenge didn't sound so far away. Chapter 5. The Temptation of Revenge. Mark lit a cigarette as we sat on the bench, the smoke curling into the night air. He offered me one, but I shook my head. My chest was already burning without it. You know what she did to me? He asked. I shrugged. Probably the same thing she did to me, and to Emily. He laughed bitterly. Worse. She set me up, spread rumors that I cheated, trashed my reputation. My own friends stopped talking to me, all because I called her out for flirting with someone else. I clenched my fists. Sounds like her. Mark leaned in, his voice low. So why are we letting her keep winning? I frowned. What are you saying? I'm saying we hit her where it hurts. Expose her. Make her lies catch up to her. She thrives on control, right? Let's take it away. The thought made my pulse quicken. Revenge. Clean, sharp, satisfying. But then Emily's tear-streaked face flashed in my mind, begging me to forgive her. I shook my head. I don't know if that's me. Mark snorted. Of course it's you. You just don't want to admit it. Look, man, you can keep pretending you're above it, or you can actually do something about the girl who ruined you. His words cut deep, maybe too deep. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Claire's smirk, Emily's sobs, Mark's voice. Make her pay. Part of me wanted it, wanted to see Claire fall, to hear her beg the way Emily had. But another part whispered that if I stooped to her level, I'd lose myself. I rolled over, burying my face in the pillow. My chest ached, with the weight of indecision. The next day, Mark called me. I've got proof, he said. What kind of proof? Screenshots, messages, photos. She's been playing half the city, man. If people saw this, she'd be done. I rubbed my temples. And you want me to help spread it? You want closure, don't you? This is how you get it. I stayed silent. Think about it, he said before hanging up. That evening, I met Daniel at our usual diner. He noticed the storm on my face the second I sat down. What's going on with you? I told him about Mark, about the plan, about the proof. Daniel listened, then leaned forward. So you gonna do it? I don't know. Bro, listen. Revenge feels sweet at first, but it rots you from the inside. You think you'll feel better, but all you'll be is tangled up in her mess again. I stared at my coffee. Then what do I do? Just let her walk away like nothing happened? No, you walk away. That's the difference. She doesn't get to live in your head unless you let her. His words made sense, but they didn't erase the itch under my skin, the hunger to see her fall. 2 nights later, Mark sent me a file. Dozens of screenshots. Claire flirting, lying, blackmailing, names, dates, places. Evidence strong enough to torch her whole world. My hands shook as I scrolled. This was it. The weapon. The chance to flip the script. Emily's voice echoed in my head. If you ever find it in your heart to forgive me, I'll be waiting. Claire's voice followed, sharper. You'll never be first. And then Daniel's. You walk away. That's the difference. I slammed the laptop shut. My breath came fast, my heart racing. I wanted to hurt her. God, I wanted to. but I also knew if I pulled that trigger, I'd never get myself back. The next morning, I called Mark. "I can't do it," I said. He cursed under his breath. "You're too soft. That's why she ruined you." "Maybe," I admitted, "but I'm not letting her ruin what's left of me." He hung up on me. For a moment, I felt weak, but then strangely, I felt lighter, because for the first time, the choice wasn't hers. It was mine. Chapter 6. Breaking Chains. I didn't plan it. I didn't plan to see them both in the same place again. But fate, or maybe just bad timing, put me right in their path. It was a Saturday morning, the kind where I usually drown myself in errands just to avoid thinking. I had just stepped out of the grocery store, bags in hand, when I froze. Emily, standing by the cafe across the street. And next to her, Claire. They were arguing. Emily's arms were crossed, Claire's voice sharp and cutting through the air. For a second, I thought about turning around and walking away, but my legs didn't move. And then Emily saw me. Her eyes widened. She whispered something to Claire before stepping forward, almost running. "Please, wait. Can we talk?" Claire followed, her smirk curling like smoke. Well, look who finally crawled out of hiding. I clenched my jaw. Not here. We ended up at a quiet park nearby. The three of us sat on opposite ends of a weathered bench, the air thick with tension. Emily leaned forward, her hands trembling. "I need you to know, I didn't choose her over you, not really. She twisted everything. She made me believe," Claire cut in with a scoff. "Oh, don't start rewriting history. You did choose me. Every time." "Shut up, Claire," Emily snapped, her voice breaking. "I made mistakes. Yes, I hurt him. But you manipulated me. You fed me lies until I couldn't tell what was real anymore." Claire rolled her eyes. "Don't play victim now. You loved the attention. You loved having both of us orbiting you." Emily's face flushed with shame. She looked at me, tears brimming. I was weak, and I let her drive us apart. But I swear to you, I never stopped loving you. My chest tightened. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But then Claire leaned back, her smile dripping venom. "See, she'll say whatever it takes. She's desperate. Pathetic, really. But you always were the boring one. Second best. The safe option." I stood up, fists clenched. "No, not anymore." They both stared at me, Emily's eyes wide with hope, Claire's narrowing, calculating. I looked straight at Claire. "You don't get to define me anymore. Not as second best, not as anything. I'm done letting you pull the strings." Her smirk faltered for the first time. Then I turned to Emily. Her lips trembled, her voice barely a whisper. "Does that mean you're done with me too?" The question cut deeper than I expected. I took a breath. "I don't know. I don't have the answer right now. But I know this. I'm not your backup plan, not your comfort zone. If you want me, you fight for me. You prove it. Otherwise, we're finished." Tears slipped down her cheeks. She nodded slowly, as if the weight of her own choices had finally crashed down on her. And Claire. For once, she had nothing to say. The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting match could have been. Emily reached out, her hand trembling. "Please just give me a chance to fix this." I stared at her hand, then at Claire's cold, empty stare, and finally, I shook my head. "I'm not making a decision today. Not here. Not like this." I turned and walked away, the crunch of gravel under my shoes louder than their silence behind me. Later that night, Daniel came over. I told him everything. The cafe, the park, the confrontation. "So what now?" he asked. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, I don't feel like I'm drowning. I don't feel powerless. That's what's next. Taking my time. Choosing for myself. Daniel smiled faintly. "Sounds like you finally broke the chain." Maybe he was right, because for the first time in months, the weight on my chest felt lighter, not gone, not healed, but lighter. And that was enough. For now. Chapter 7. The Hardest Choice. The days after the confrontation felt strange, like I was living in a fog. Emily texted me, but the messages were softer now. No begging, no desperate walls of words, just small lines. "I miss you. I hope you're okay. I'm trying to give you space." Claire, on the other hand, didn't bother me. Not a single word. Maybe she was finally tired of playing her games. Or maybe she was just waiting for her chance to strike again. But the silence didn't erase the question clawing at me. What do I do with Emily? One evening, I called Daniel. "I don't know if I can trust her again." He didn't hesitate. Then don't. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. She broke you, man. You can't keep reopening the wound. I sighed, but part of me still loves her. Daniel groaned. Of course you do. Love doesn't just vanish. But loving someone and choosing them, those aren't the same thing. His words sank deep. And yet, they didn't give me peace. The next night, Emily showed up outside my apartment again. She didn't knock at first. She just sat on the steps, waiting. When I finally opened the door, she stood quickly. I didn't want to bother you. I just needed to see you. I crossed my arms. Emily, this can't keep happening. You can't just show up whenever you feel guilty. Her voice cracked. I'm not here out of guilt. I'm here because I love you, and because I don't want to lose you forever. I studied her face, the messy hair, the tired eyes, the way she looked like she hadn't slept in days. You already lost me once, you know that, right? She nodded slowly. And it's the biggest mistake I've ever made. We sat inside, the air tense. She fiddled with the hem of her sleeve before speaking again. Do you know why I always ran to Claire? She asked softly. I clenched my jaw. Because she was more important to you than I was. No. She shook her head, tears forming. Because she made me feel like I didn't need to grow up. With you, it was real. It was scary. You made me want to be better, and I wasn't ready for that. So I hid behind her. I thought she was safety, but she was just poison. Her words cut me open. I whispered, so what am I supposed to do with that? Just forgive you? I don't know, she admitted, voice trembling. All I know is I'll spend every day proving I won't make the same mistake again, if you let me. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I said, Emily, do you even understand what you did to me? You didn't just hurt me. You made me feel invisible, like I was second choice, like I was never enough. She covered her face with her hand, sobbing. I know, and I hate myself for it. I sat there, torn in two. Half of me wanted to pull her into my arms, to wipe away her tears, to believe her promises. The other half wanted to scream, to slam the door, to never look back. Do you really think I can ever trust you again? I asked finally. Her eyes locked on mine, desperate but steady. Not right away. But I'll earn it, day by day, even if it takes years. Later that night, Daniel called again. So, did she show up? Yeah. And? I hesitated. She says she wants to fight for me. And you believe her? I rubbed my temples. That's the problem. Part of me does. Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Listen, only you can decide this. But remember, love isn't just about what she says now. It's about how she made you feel when it mattered. His words echoed long after I hung up. The next morning, Emily texted me again. I'll wait, as long as it takes. Even if you never forgive me, I'll still try. I stared at the message for a long time, and then, finally, I typed back. If I give you one more chance, it's the last one. No lies, no Claire, no excuses. Her reply came almost instantly. Yes, I swear. No more mistakes. That night, she came over again. But this time, I didn't keep her outside. We sat on the couch in silence, both of us scared, both of us broken, both of us unsure if we could rebuild. But when she reached for my hand, I didn't pull away. Maybe I was a fool. Maybe I was setting myself up to be shattered all over again. But in that moment, I decided I would give her one last chance. Because sometimes the hardest choice isn't walking away. It's staying and risking everything. Chapter 8. When the past strikes back, rebuilding wasn't easy. Emily and I kept things simple at first. Small conversations, coffee in the mornings, quiet walks in the evenings. No big promises, just tiny steps. And for a while, it almost felt like we were finding our way back, until Claire came storming in again. It was a Friday night. Emily and I were at the cafe near my apartment, laughing over something stupid I'd said. For the first time in months, I felt light, like maybe things could be okay. Then I heard it. Unbelievable! The voice froze me mid-laugh. Claire stood at the entrance, her eyes blazing. She marched over, heels clicking against the tile. You've got to be kidding me. You actually took her back? Emily stiffened beside me. Claire, please. No, don't you dare please me, Claire spat. After everything she did to you, and you just what? Pretend it never happened? I leaned back, trying to keep my voice steady. Why do you even care, Claire? We're done with you. Her eyes narrowed. You think you're done with me? You don't get it. I know things she's still hiding from you. Emily's face went pale. I turned to her immediately. What is she talking about? Emily shook her head frantically. She's lying. Don't listen. But Claire leaned in closer, her smile wicked. Tell him, Emily. Tell him about the messages. The nights you said you weren't with me. But you were. My stomach dropped. Is that true? I asked quietly. Emily's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her eyes brimmed with tears. I cut her off months before we fell apart. She's twisting it. Claire laughed coldly. Of course she is. That's what she does. Spins her lies until you believe them. You're such a fool if you think she's changed. The whole cafe had gone silent, eyes fixed on us. My hand shook under the table. I looked at Emily. I need the truth, right now. She reached across the table, desperate. Yes, I made mistakes. I kept contact longer than I should have. I was scared to let her go completely because I thought she'd ruin me if I did. But I wasn't with her the way she's making it sound. Not when I was with you. Her voice cracked, tears spilling. I know it's not enough. I know I should have told you everything. But I swear to you, I chose you this time. Not her. I searched her face, trying to read her, trying to decide if this was just another lie. My chest felt like it was caving in. Claire smirked, satisfied. See? Even now, she can't tell you the whole truth. She'll never change. Something in me snapped. I stood, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. No, you don't get to stand here and act like you're the authority on truth. You've done nothing but poison us. You've fed off her weakness and my pain like it was your game. But it's over. Do you hear me? Over. Claire blinked, momentarily thrown off. I turned to Emily. My voice softened. If you're still lying to me, if there's anything else, you need to say it now, because I swear I won't survive another betrayal. Emily wiped her face, sobbing. I'm not lying. Not anymore. Please, believe me. I took a deep breath. Then this is your last chance. Claire scoffed. You're pathetic, both of you. She'll break you again, and when she does, don't come crawling back. Emily shot to her feet, her voice shaking but fierce. No, Claire. I'm done letting you control me. You don't get to haunt me anymore. For the first time, Claire looked unsettled. She stared at Emily like she didn't recognize her. Fine, Claire hissed finally, but don't say I didn't warn you. And then she stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. The cafe slowly returned to life around us, but I could barely hear it. My heartbeat was too loud. Emily turned to me, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry. I should have told you everything sooner. I was terrified of losing you. I exhaled slowly. You almost did. She reached for my hand again. Please let me prove to you that I'm not that girl anymore. I hesitated, staring at her shaking fingers. And then finally, I laced my hand with hers. But inside, a storm still raged, because even though Claire was gone, her words clung to me like smoke. She'll break you again. And I didn't know if that was a warning or a prophecy. Chapter 9. The Breaking Point. The night after Claire's outburst, I couldn't sleep. Emily lay beside me, her breathing uneven like she was half afraid I'd vanish while she dreamed. I stared at the ceiling, Claire's words still echoing in my head. She'll break you again. I hated that part of me believed it. By morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. We need to talk, I said as she sat at the table, clutching her coffee like it was her lifeline. Her eyes darted up nervously. About last night? About everything? She set the cup down slowly. I already told you the truth. I don't know what else I can say. Then tell me this, I said, leaning forward. Why did it take Claire cornering us in a cafe for you to finally admit you kept talking to her? Why not tell me months ago? Tears welled instantly. Because I thought you'd leave me. I thought if you knew I was still answering her texts, you'd walk away for good. And I couldn't handle that. I slammed my hand against the table before I could stop myself. Do you not see how backwards that is? You lied to keep me, but the lie is what pushed me away. She flinched at my anger but didn't argue. Instead, she whispered, I know, and I hate myself for it. We sat in silence for a while. My chest felt heavy like I was dragging a weight too big to carry. Finally, I said, Emily, I need to know. Can I trust you, or am I just waiting for you to choose her again? She shook her head violently. No, never again. I swear to you, Claire is gone from my life. I studied her, searching for cracks in her voice, in her face. Swear on what? On us? On me. Because you've sworn before and it broke me. Her lips trembled. Then don't take my word. Watch me. Let me prove it, day after day. If I fail once, if I even look back at her, then you never have to see me again. Her desperation hit me like a punch. Later that day, I called Daniel. She says she's done with Claire, I muttered. And you believe her? He asked flatly. I don't know. Well, let me remind you, he said. Believing her is what burned you last time. Do you really want to stick your hand back in the fire? Maybe, I admitted, because part of me thinks if I walk away now, I'll never forgive myself for not at least trying. Daniel sighed. Or maybe you'll finally be free. His words twisted in my chest like a knife. That evening, Emily surprised me. She handed me her phone. Go through it. I blinked. What? Check everything. Messages, emails, socials. I've got nothing to hide. I want you to see for yourself. I hesitated, phone heavy in my hand. You don't have to. Yes, I do, she said firmly. If it's the only way to rebuild trust, then I'll do it. So I looked. And for the first time in years, there was nothing. No secret threads with Claire, no late-night messages, just me. And yet, doubt still gnawed at me. Why do I feel like I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop? I muttered. Emily's voice broke. Because I broke you so badly, you can't even trust peace anymore. That night, she begged me not with words, but with silence. She sat beside me on the couch, her hand resting lightly on mine, not forcing, not pleading, just waiting. Finally, I whispered, Do you even realize how close I am to walking away? Her eyes filled instantly. Yes, but I'm not letting go of you unless you tell me to. The room felt like it was suffocating me. My chest pounded, my throat tight. I stood, pacing. This is my breaking point, Emily. I can't live in limbo anymore. Either I believe you, or I don't. Either I stay, or I go. Her voice shook. Then stay, please. I'll spend the rest of my life proving you won't regret it. I stared at her for a long time, and then finally I sank down beside her. One last chance. That's it. If you betray me again, if you even hesitate to choose me, there won't be another. She nodded rapidly, tears streaming. You won't regret it, I promise. But inside, I whispered to myself, God help me if I do. Later, when she finally fell asleep against my shoulder, I stayed awake. Was I saving us, or setting myself up for the final heartbreak? I didn't know, but I knew this much. The next time Emily broke me, it would be the last. Chapter 10. Closure and Karma. Weeks passed. For once, there was quiet. No calls from Claire, no new storms. Emily kept her word. She showed up every day, not with grand gestures, but with small ones. Cooking dinner, leaving notes in my jacket, holding my hand like it was the only thing tethering her to the world. And I watched. I waited. I searched for cracks. But slowly, I started to believe. Then one evening, I ran into Claire. I hadn't expected it. She was outside the same cafe where everything exploded weeks ago. But this time, she wasn't smirking. She wasn't sharp-tongued. She looked hollow. Funny, she said bitterly, eyeing me. She cut me off, and now I've got nothing. Guess you got what you wanted. I crossed my arms. No, Claire. I didn't want to destroy you. I just wanted my life back. Her eyes flashed, but then her shoulders slumped. She chose you. After everything, she still chose you. Because for once, I said quietly, she realized who was worth losing and who wasn't. Claire let out a humorless laugh. Enjoy it while it lasts. People like Emily, they always slip. But there was no weight in her words anymore, no venom, just emptiness. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger toward her, only pity. That night, I told Emily what happened. She looked broken, I admitted. Emily lowered her eyes. She thought she owned me, but she never did. I let her control me because I was afraid to be alone. And now, I asked. She reached for my hand, firm this time, not trembling. Now I know I'd rather be alone than ever go back to her. But I don't want to be alone. I want you. I studied her, waiting for doubt to creep in, but it didn't. Not this time. For once, I believed her. Weeks turned to months. Trust didn't rebuild overnight, but brick by brick, we laid it back down. Some scars never faded, but maybe that was the point, so we'd never forget what nearly destroyed us. One evening, Daniel asked me, "So, you think she's really changed?" I thought about it for a long moment before answering. Yes. But more importantly, I've changed. I'm not afraid to walk away anymore. If she ever chooses someone else again, I won't wait around. I'll be gone. Daniel smirked. Good. Took you long enough to learn that. Later that night, as Emily and I sat on the balcony watching the city lights, she whispered, "Do you regret giving me another chance?" I looked at her, the girl who once shattered me, now fighting every day to put me back together. "No," I said softly, because sometimes karma isn't about punishment. It's about waking someone up, and this time it woke us both. Her eyes filled, and she leaned into me, whispering, "Then I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it." For once, I let myself believe she would. And in that quiet moment, I finally felt it. Closure, not just with Emily, but with the ghosts of everything we'd survived.